Hey, you guys, this is Kelly, and you are listening to In Her Voice, kind of. I have something so exciting and special for you today. My really good friend and coach, Tara Newman, and I both love CrossFit, and we both love talking about how physical challenges that we have overcome and pushed through in CrossFit, and sometimes haven't pushed through, have really helped us apply lessons in our lives that are transformational. And Tara is a really good friend of mine. We've known each other for years and years and years. And I'm so excited to be sharing this special conversation with her. So this is not really an In Her Voice episode as much as it is a conversation with Tara Newman about the physical challenges of CrossFit and how they have healed us, how we are learning from them still, how they sometimes trigger us and what we can do about that, and how you can really start to take the lessons that you're learning in your own life in this area and apply them to other areas. So I really hope that you love this conversation. If this is something that you enjoyed, please let me know. We also say this at the end of the episode, but we would totally be interested in doing more of this if this is something that you really get a kick out of. So let me know, and I will be back to my regularly scheduled solo episode next week. But in the meantime, enjoy this amazing conversation with me and Tara Newman. Hello, everyone. This is Kelly from In Her Voice.
And this is Tara from the Bold Leadership Revolution.
And we are super excited to be doing this special podcast for you today that is a conversation between the two of us about how physical challenges have healed our wounds and how we're really using what we're doing at the gym to push through stuff. Can I just say stuff?
You could say,
Tara?
yeah. I mean,
we're pushing through stuff in other areas of life through what we're learning at the gym.
Yeah, I would say that even though I will say that I'm pleasantly surprised at how doing something physical like CrossFit is helping me move the emotions and feelings through my body in a way that is producing healing. Yeah.
Totally. Well, and I want to give you guys a little bit of background about why we're doing this special podcast. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, we love podcasting.
We do.
That's number one.
Wait, can I also jump in here? I'm going to totally cut you off. Do you know that I went back in my Instagram and found a comment on one of my posts from 2011 from you?
No. What did it say?
I don't remember. That wasn't important. The 2011 part I thought was like that we've been circling, that we've been friends online. We met online.
Yeah. Well, has it been, I feel like it must have been longer than 2011 because I feel like it was before I was on Instagram that we met.
We actually met on Twitter.
Ah, see, there you go. I don't hang out there so much anymore.
No.
So Tara and I have known each other for a long, long time, and we've actually met in person, which doesn't always happen. And we met through the world of triathlon. Mm-hmm. And that is something that we're going to dive into a little bit today also. But we were having an Instagram conversation about, 5-6 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. About
right after
CrossFit
18.1.
That's right. We were both doing the CrossFit Open for the first time, and we were having like all these amazing insights. And I was like, wait, stop talking right now. We're going to record this.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think should we talk about what the CrossFit Open is very briefly?
Go for it.
Okay. So the CrossFit Open is a series of workouts that are designed to determine who goes to the CrossFit Games, right? So these are where your most competitive athletes are going, and then their next step is regionals, and then from regionals, they go to the games. However, CrossFit, being the amazing community that it is, has opened up the CrossFit Open to all CrossFitters, all CrossFit athletes of any level. And you get to go and do these workouts that the elites do and test your fitness level and see how you stack up against yourself, against other women, against other regions, within your own region, within your gym. And it's really designed to be fun. I know where the gym that I come from, we've had a lot of fun with it.
Totally. Mine too. And I think that I would like to add a historical point here in that for me, this was my very first CrossFit Open. And I think for you too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was coming from someone who said, I will never do the CrossFit Open.
I didn't want to do it either.
Those words came out of my mouth multiple years because I've been doing CrossFit since 2013 and I've never done it before. And I decided to this year, which was an interesting test. And I had specific reasons for why I did it. Why did you decide to do it this year?
So just for some background, I've just completed my first year of CrossFit. So you have a couple more years into this than I do. So I'm fairly much a newbie. I've done some CrossFit competitions. I did Flex on the Beach in September. I did a gym competition that we had, and then was the Open. And while I enjoyed competing in the, other two competitions that I did, they were team competitions. And I was really hesitant about competing as an individual. I really didn't want to put myself in this place where, I was going to get caught up into some old habits and behaviors, to be fair. I had a lot of fear around that. And there was a lot of, I don't want to say peer pressure because that's like not the right word. There was a lot of loving, enthusiastic, let's do this going on at the gym. So I knew that if I didn't sign up, that I wasn't going to hear the end of it from other people. And so to be fair, that's why I signed up.
Interesting. Well, so for me, coming from this place of saying, I will never do it. And the reason, and let me be clear about why I used to say I would never do it. When I first came into CrossFit, I was coming right out of triathlon. And I was in this place where I thought that I was making this switch because I needed it for my soul, which was true. But I didn't realize that I was just hopping from one fire into another fire, from one place of feeling not good enough into another place where I could reproduce that same problem, where I was constantly comparing myself to other people, constantly beating myself up because I wasn't at the same standard, or even if it was my own standard, like, oh, I didn't do that as fast as I thought I should, not even comparing always to other people. And so, that came to a point after about a year and a half where I had to take some time off of CrossFit because I was in deep, severe adrenal fatigue, which I know you are familiar with, Tara. And I couldn't exercise for a year at all, like nothing. My doctor was like, no, you can't do anything. And so when I came back to CrossFit, I was very deliberate about approaching it in a way that was non-competitive, that was loving and kind, and giving myself what I needed, as opposed to pushing the way I had done it before. And so that was really why I had said I would never do the Open, because I felt that it would, like you say, take me back to those habits of comparison and of beating myself up and of feeling not good enough. But this year, I really felt like, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to give my self-love that test, to really see if I've developed my own sense of who I am and of loving myself right now where I am, a test to see if it's where I need to be. And I am so glad that I did it.
I'm glad I did it too. After the fact. Yeah. Like after the
After the fact.
No, well, it's funny because, well, first of all, I can really understand how you entered CrossFit Part 2 for you, because that's how I entered CrossFit for me, was that I had not worked out for 2 years prior because I was so burned out, and it was like getting out of bed was a workout. I had never been more out of shape. I had never been more overweight. I had never been more, I don't want to say not in love with myself, but yeah, that would probably be a bit fair. Just really not confident in my body showing up for me. Not trusting my body to be resilient and to be able to strengthen itself. And so that's how I entered CrossFit. And I entered from a very, very conscious place of not burning out. So I did things very intentionally when I started. I only allowed myself to go 3 days a week. Every workout had a goal, and that wasn't always a competitive goal, right? It could have been like, I'm just okay, fine. Like we have Grace today, but I'm not going for time, even though Grace is for time. I'm going to practice my cleans, my clean and jerks. So just really being intentional with how I was approaching each workout so that I didn't drive myself into the ground. And what I found, what CrossFit has taught me, is the answer to a couple of things. One, it helped me understand hustle better. So I was very anti-hustle from being burned out for so long. I blamed my hustle for burning me out. And what I realized through doing CrossFit is that it wasn't the hustle that burned me out. It was the energy that was underneath the hustle that burned me out. And likewise, I also understood through CrossFit very quickly when to push, because I had at that point deemed all pushing bad. However, not all pushing is bad in my perspective. It's that when you feel the pull is when you push. You don't push to find the pull. So I am very conscious in my workouts that when I'm feeling pulled, when this is a workout that's really exciting to me, that I enjoy doing, that is in my strength zone, that I'll push. And so, yes, going into the open with some of these new perspectives and these new shifts, it was definitely a test to see if I could last 5 weeks, Kelly, because when we started talking about this, it was 18.1. By the time we had the first scheduled podcast, it was 18.3. And then my kids were home from school and we were like, let's switch the date. And then I think it was 18, we rescheduled, it was around 18.5. You weren't feeling great. And here we are a week after 18.5. And I said to you earlier that I would have had a very different perspective if we spoke at 18.1 versus 18.3 versus 18.5 versus now.
So tell me about it. Like, I'm really interested to know what that journey was for you.
Okay. So going into 18.1, and here's what's super interesting for me as being like a leadership coach for people and a performance coach for people in business. Business is a place that I am insanely confident. I have no problem saying that I can step into any business and run it. And that's a bold statement. And the things that my clients come to me with, around lacking confidence, not having, not feeling clear, imposter syndrome, not good enough. I don't feel those things often around business because I've been doing it for so long. However, I feel all of those things in the CrossFit gym.
Interesting. So
it's given me such a broader perspective, even into my work. And so I was not confident going into the open that I could even complete these workouts, which is weird because we practice open workouts all the time. I'm sure you do too. Like you'll come in and the WOD would be like 14.6 or, 17.3. And still I just, there was something about it that was very, if I dwelled on it for too long, it was going to take me out.
Interesting.
So going into it, I was not confident. I did feel like a little taken out by the whole experience. And then 18.1 was technically not my workout. It was an engine workout. So it was primarily a rowing workout.
Oh, right. See, I thought it was a toast to bar workout.
No, but I scaled it. You didn't. Right. So I did the whole thing scaled. And so I did actually better than I expected on that workout. And that gave me a tremendous amount of encouragement and motivation for the next week. So if we talked during 18.1, I would have been like, rah, rah, this is awesome. I got this. 18.2, I would have had the same conversation. I really felt like I nailed 18.2, and 18.2A was my workout 'cause I lift heavy. So 18.3, if I would have felt like I was kind of mastering it. By 18.3, I would have had a very confident conversation. I would have felt like I was mastering it. 18.4 took me out.
Was that the pull-ups one?
No, 18.4. Oh, so 18.3 was the pull-ups, where I had just gotten pull-ups the week before. And I wound up completing 10 pull-ups.
Amazing.
And I didn't think that I would complete 10 pull-ups. However, once I completed the 10 pull-ups, I was really mad that I didn't complete the 12. And I really had to watch myself there.
Yeah.
So it was interesting because 18.
The push came up in the wrong sort of way.
Yeah. So 18.1, I wanted to get through 10 rounds, and I was 3 reps short, 3 cals short on the rower of the 10 rounds. And I was like, I got 10 rounds. Like mentally for me, that was 10 rounds. I was fine. Even though I was 3 cals short. But by 18.3, my inner competitor was coming out.
Yeah.
And I was getting a little sassy and fueled. And 10 push-ups did not then equate to 12 in my mind, like it did in 18.1. So then I was like, damn it, why didn't I get the other 2 pull-ups? 18.4 took me out. That should have been my workout. It was Diane and then Diane-ish.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, and I did scaled, but I'm a deadlifter. I've got a 1 rep max close to 300 pounds. So I was looking at that, and it was Diane at 95 pounds. 95 pounds isn't even my warm-up weight.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got this. And I actually had to stop 90 seconds before the workout was out because my back blew out.
Oh.
And I stood there, and everybody else around me, and this is where I started going into comparison. Everybody else around me is like really gutting out these deadlifts because they're really heavy for these people. Whereas 150 to deadlift 155 for me isn't really heavy. I mean, it was all really heavy after Diane, but in the grand scheme of things, theoretically, this should not have been a problem for me. And there were athletes with lesser weight deadlifts that were just killing it. And I was standing there and I couldn't even pick the bar up. And I just internally, I just like crumbled.
So do you feel like you needed that lesson?
Yes. I honestly still need to sit with it. Yeah, I still need. And then, so that was 18.4. So by 18.5, I had been doing all my workouts in my class in the class that I usually go to. However, I actually am on individual programming. So my coach programs for me 5 days a week individually. Sometimes he includes take the class. Sometimes I'm doing workouts on my own. And so, and I do personal training with him once a week. So by the time we got to 18.5, I said to him, I can't do this workout in class. I need to do this workout by myself. And I need you to be my judge. And I just need to be in my own space for this workout. I was exhausted. If mentally, what I said my limiter was to my coach was my mindset. And I do the work. I coach on mindset. And my limiter, it was so exhausting for me. So my dad calls it the steel cage, where you put your mind in the steel cage, right? And you just shut everything out. And you get into that hyper-focused zone where it is just, you and the work and the pain. And I lived my entire type A existence in the steel cage every day. suck it up, adapt and overcome, put your head down, do the work, block it out, right? And so that's why I burned out. So when I experienced burnout and we went through this, and I don't know, maybe you can relate to this a little bit, is I swore that I was not going to put myself in a perpetual state like that ever again. Like that level of shut down, numbing was not okay. It was like a boundary for me. And I had a really hard time putting myself in that competitive zone and then pulling myself back out again week after week during the Open.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. And I love this journey that you shared, because I think that, you know, as coaches, people look at us and they say, oh, they've got it all together. They're doing the work. And you know what? We are doing the work every damn day. We're doing the work. And this is how you do the work. You put yourself, when you feel you're ready, into situations that are going to challenge that. And that's what the Open absolutely was for me. But one thing that I still haven't figured out yet for myself is, why did the Open push me in a way that I can't push myself? Like for me, I kind of felt like, okay, well, I'm doing this thing, I'm in it. And when I do something, I'm all in, right? But why can't I show up that way on a normal day? And I don't really know the answer to that. And sometimes I think that maybe it's just, there's a little bit of fear there. Like you said, like of fearing, I actually am afraid of hurting myself. Hurting my hand, or dropping something on my face, or falling, and then I won't be able to play my flute because I'm a musician. That's one of my fears. But also, like, I don't like hurting in a workout. I don't like going there because it's really, really uncomfortable. And it's been interesting because now here we are the week after the Open, and I'm actually at a new gym because my gym closed. My last workout at the gym was 18.5, which was really hard and sad and challenging, because it means I had to like show up in a whole new way in a new place and go through those steps to just get there. And it was really interesting because like now I'm at a new gym, and a lot of my same people that I normally work out with are there too, which is great. But I feel like I'm pushing myself harder. And I'm kind of like, is that because I'm at a new gym? Or is it because I figured out how to do that and not be so afraid during the Open? Because I feel like that was one of the gifts that it gave me, of like being able to see like, oh, I've got more than I think that I have in there. And triathlon gave that to me too. Even back when I didn't understand that, 1 minute wasn't going to make a difference for me and my worthiness. I didn't get that back then, but I did understand that triathlon made me understand my power. And CrossFit is doing that for me again in a new way. I am a powerful person. I am capable of so much more than I think that I am. And when I put myself in situations, all of a sudden that comes through. So I liked it. I liked it for that reason. I didn't love, going to the app and putting my score in and feeling like, well, I only did 3 reps. Right. That feeling is I didn't love. And I had to work really hard at understanding, this is what I have right now. And that's really awesome. And what am I going to do to get better for next time? And also, what can I do right now to understand that that's all I need right now?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying about putting the score into the app. That there was almost 2 sides of the comparison coin for me there. So one was putting my score in and comparing it, like making it mean something, right? And then the other part of it was, watching some of these stories of the more elite athletes say, maybe on like 18.5, for example, because 18.5 was 11.6 and 14 point something. So people had done it before. I actually loved that one.
Well, this is so interesting. So it's just so you guys understand sort of a little more what we're talking about if you're not familiar with CrossFit. There are two ways to do the workouts. You can do them RX, which means as prescribed, the same weight and the same movements. Or if you feel that you're not quite ready for those movements or that weight, you can do them scaled, which is a little bit of lighter weight and a little bit of an easier movement. And so my goal was really to do all of the workouts RX. But because of that, there were a couple of workouts, the last two, that I could only get a few reps on because the next movement was a movement that I can't do at all. So for example, I can't do a ring muscle up. So in that workout that had ring muscle ups, I could only get up to that point, and then that was all I could do. In the workout that had handstand push-ups, I can't do those. And so I got, I think, what was it, 10 deadlifts or however many deadlifts, 21 deadlifts, and then that's it. That's all I could do. And the last one had chest to bars. So I got 3 thrusters, heavy thrusters, and then that was it. So for all of those, I also did the scaled workout.
So did you enter the RX weight? Did you enter your RX?
Mm-hmm. I entered the RX.
So you stayed
reps.
So you stayed technically RX the whole time. The only reason why you did it scaled was just for fun and to
because I wanted to get a good workout in. You know, and it would what surprised me is that I think in my head the scaled workouts were going to be easy, and they were not.
No.
They were not easy. And I'm really glad that I did them just for that reason, because I think that it's so good to stay grounded in that wherever you are in your journey, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah. So the other side of the comparison coin was, for me, was looking at the more elite athletes who were saying, hey, when I did this workout 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I got like 110 reps, and today I got like 170 reps. And I was like, okay, so this is like remembering to compare myself to where I am on my journey and not compare myself to where somebody else is on their journey. And even if I'm year 1 CrossFit and somebody else is year 1 CrossFit, but they were, say, a collegiate athlete.
Totally different.
And I was never a collegiate athlete. That's a completely different comparison. I didn't grow up playing sports. I wasn't really nothing like that at all. And so, I had to keep, so like I would start heading down like the wrong comparison path. And then I would have to go, okay, but look for the evidence of the people who were where you are now, and now they're somewhere else, because that's what's possible for you.
Yeah.
So using comparison for good and not evil.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think that we both do CrossFit and we love CrossFit. So that's what we're talking about. But this is true, I think, of any physical thing. I mean, it could be a half marathon or a marathon. It could be a triathlon. It could be just getting up and going to the gym and walking on the treadmill. Wherever you are, it's not about what other people are doing. It's about saying to yourself, what do I need for me today? How can I show myself love today? And so every day that I'm at the gym is a day that I'm giving myself love. It's a day that I'm giving myself what I need. And there are some days where I fall away from that, and I push when I shouldn't push, or I get caught up in my score or whatever. But I see it now as, instead of, oh, I'm slipping, like I'm backsliding. Instead of that, I see it as an opportunity to step in again to the practice of loving myself, of knowing what I need, and of being able to give that to myself.
100%. Because I'm looking back at that 18.4 workout, and I'm like, that cut deep. Like, that's got to get looked at. You know, that was not a workout for my healing. Well, it will be for my healing, but it wasn't. It was a workout
in the moment.
Yeah, it was a workout that reopened a wound. And, you know, I'm still not quite over it. And it's funny because I think that so many athletes might say, well, just shake it off, right? Like, just shake it off. It's not a big deal. And I can't shake that one off. And that's okay. I'm not judging myself for not shaking it off.
Yeah.
I'm allowing it to be where it is because that's highlighting a spot that I need to work on. I mean, the other thing that came up big for me, I'm like so embarrassed to even admit this.
Oh, go for it. Oh my gosh, we got to hear it.
It's a lot of judgment.
Yeah. Not your own judgment?
No. Well, okay. So we know most judgment is self-judgment.
Sure.
Right? Like, me judging somebody else isn't about somebody else. It's about me. Right? It's about what I'm not doing or where I'm not showing up or, you know, a belief that I have about myself. So yes, I was self-judging through others.
Gotcha.
And I wasn't being like judgy McJudgerson. Like, I wasn't, and it wasn't even a specific person. It was behaviors that I was seeing in the gym that were triggering to me because I think they were triggering. That's how old Tara would have shown up. Right. And would I be getting a different score if old Tara was here?
Oh my gosh.
Would I be performing better if old Tara was here?
100%. Let me tell you about an interesting experience I had. It was in the one with the bar facing burpees. And what it was like dumbbell front squats or squat cleans or something like that, right?
Yeah, that was 18.2.
Yeah. And so the person who was judging me, like, you have to have a judge for each workout. So the person who was my judge, every time I did a front squat, she would say, you need to get lower. But she wouldn't give me a no rep, which meant it was okay. And I started getting really mad. I was like, either no rep me or stop saying that because I feel like I'm low enough. And she was like, well, you're just low enough. And I'm like, well, then that's low enough. And I really kind of snapped at her. And afterward, I had to apologize because I really wasn't very nice in the moment. But I realized too that's exactly what was triggering to me is the not enough.
Yeah. Every rep, not enough.
Right. Not enough, not enough, not enough. When it was enough. You know, it didn't have to be, my butt didn't have to touch the ground for it to be good enough. All I needed to do was to get below parallel. And that was this place of like where I used to be, if I didn't get 100% on everything, I'm like complaining to the teacher, right? I'm disappointed in myself. That wasn't good enough. And so it was really sort of this reflective thing of realizing, number one, I still get triggered by not enoughness, but also I am way more accepting of my own enoughness, of like, what is enough? I know what is enough for me. And so, you know, it's sort of like a dual-edged sword there because I recognize that's still a trigger for me.
Yeah.
Did you have something I need to work on?
Sorry. Yes. I'm not going to lie. I probably would have lost my mind if she was saying that to me. And
well, I yelled at her.
I'm like, holy gosh, Kelly, you apologize. That's like really good.
Well, and she's my friend too. You know, she's a friend of mine. And so, and I think also like there was some of her own stuff in that. And I think that's one thing that we have to recognize when we're dealing with relationships. You're not just dealing with your own stuff. The other person has stuff too. And we have to take that into consideration in how everyone is showing up in the relationship. So,
yeah. So did you have any boundaries or non-negotiables when you went into the Open?
How so? Like of things that I definitely wouldn't do? That's a really good question. Yeah. At the beginning, I didn't, but of course you don't know what the workouts are going to be. So, I just felt like whatever it is, I'm going to try it, and I really want to RX it, and we'll see where it goes. And so the deadlift handstand push-up workout, I wanted to RX it, and the starting weight was 155 deadlifts, which is that's pretty darn heavy, but it's not as heavy. Yeah, it's not as heavy as I can lift. So I knew I would get through 21 of those. The first round was 21, but I've never done a handstand push-up. I have done some negatives, but even up into like the moments before I started the workout, I was like, am I going to do it or am I not going to do it? I had like not slept well the night before because this question was weighing, and I really had to go inward and ask myself, number one, if you do try this, what is the benefit of that? Do you need to push here? And when I really sat with it, I realized that I felt that I wasn't going to be safe. I felt that I was risking injury if I tried it, and that was not worth it to me. And so I didn't even attempt a handstand push-up because I just didn't feel like it was worth it. And I feel really, really good about that decision because I listened to what my body had to say. Now, I did make multiple attempts at chest to bars, and I was really close. I didn't get that. But my pull-ups are way better now. And I did make 2 hysterical attempts at ring muscle ups, which I knew that I wasn't going to get, but I still tried, and it was really fun. But the handstand push-up was the only thing that really I felt strongly would have been a mistake for me to do. And I'm very proud that I took the time to ask my body what it needed in that moment and give it to it. How about you?
Yeah, I had a couple. And I got really triggered around this. I was not going to repeat a workout because I'm not going to the games and adrenal fatigue is real.
Yep.
So I did not see any reason to right now this year repeat a workout. And there were people who were repeating workouts, and it was really, really triggering to me that they were doing the workout twice. Some of them it made total sense. Like maybe they did it on Thursday night after the announcement, and we learned things strategically about the workout or how to set up the equipment better. And in that case, like that made total sense. But people who were just redoing it because they wanted to improve by a couple of reps, like that I found really triggering. And it's none of my business how many times they do a workout at all. So it had nothing to do with them. It had to do with my own self-judgment around me not being good enough or healthy enough or whatever enough to do the workout twice. And so it was weird. I set a boundary for myself saying, for your health, you're not doing these workouts twice. And then I judged myself for putting my health first.
That's so interesting. No, that was not a trigger for me at all. I had no desire to do any of those workouts again after I finished them. If I'm going to go to the pain cave once for that, that's plenty. But I did see a lot of people struggle with that decision. And I saw a lot of people be really hard on themselves. In that second workout, if they didn't beat their
it just
score.
felt like a recipe for the old Tara, like that would have been, I wouldn't have entered into that from a healthy place.
Yeah.
And I think that I'll probably next year, I'll probably have a boundary around it, but I might try a couple of workouts twice just to see from my own performance if I would get better doing it twice, because I'm curious.
Yeah. There were a couple where I imagined that if I did them again, that it would be better. Just like you said, just strategy and, doing the movement, maybe
knowing
tweaking
what to expect.
it or whatever. Yeah. But I still didn't do any of them again.
Yeah. So that was one of my boundaries. And the other one was around coming at this as a performer and not an achiever.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So not being achievement driven, but being performance driven, and what drives performance, right? Sleep, good nutrition, doing the work, which doesn't actually happen in the gym. It happens with, taking care of your body. Maybe you need some body work. Maybe you need to go to a chiropractor. Maybe you need more rest. Maybe you need to ice or to heat or to stim or to take a magnesium bath, right? So like really just being a performer and not just being someone who grinds it out for the achievement.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. I don't think that I thought about it in that way at all. And actually for me, I feel like the past 5 weeks, minus the workouts, the open workouts themselves, has been an easier 5 weeks. Like I'm not working out every day, and I'm giving myself probably more rest days than I normally would, because I want to be really ready on the night or the day that I did the workout. And so I think that was just sort of my default to go automatically to that place, but not really thinking of it like that. Yeah, I love it. Performance versus achievement.
Yeah. So it was really an interesting experience. I didn't expect to want to be done with it. So, by the time 18.5 rolled around, like I just didn't, I think somebody in the gym was like, what's your plan, or what do you hope to get? Oh, you're doing 18.5. And I like snarled. I'm like, I don't even care what I get on this. Like I was done.
Interesting. Well, 5 weeks is a long time. It's a long time to sort of stay in
present.
Yeah. And that was one thing, because I've never done anything like that. For me, prior to this, competition has been a day. You go to a triathlon and you have one day of competition, and, months and months and months of training leading up to that. And so I've never done something like this, which is like, could be, 7 minutes or 3 reps of something. And then you have to wait a whole nother week. And there's all of this anticipation. So I will be glad to not have quite as much excitement. I'm just glad just to get back to regular training and, to not have to have this anticipation of something week after week after week.
Me too. And it honestly, it did take a toll on my work. Like I was way less productive.
Interesting.
in real work, because I was there were days that like the day that I did the workout was, it was distracting. Yeah. It was distracting physically and mentally. And then, there was a lot of excitement, and we were doing Thursday night lights, and we would want to go, and then I would be up later, and then, I would need to get up and go to the gym in the morning, and I wasn't getting enough sleep on like the Thursday night, say, and it was just a lot.
Yeah. Well, so we got to start wrapping things up here, but I want to ask you, now that it's over and you have like this full year ahead of you until the next one, although I'm sure you'll be doing other competitions and whatnot, what are your goals in terms of physical? Like, what are your physical goals in the gym for your body for, say, the next 3 months?
Yeah. So, good question. So my number one goal has been, since I started, to lean out my actual body. And so that is sometimes opposed to some of my gym goals, because nutrition versus the gym goals, sometimes it's a delicate balance. So leaner body wise. Not coming from a perspective of wanting to lose weight. Actually, I haven't really lost any weight. I've just put on a ton of muscle. I just happen to have a lot of muscle. So I'm just curious as to what is possible for my body. So coming at it more from like what's possible if I eat really well, because this is the first time in my life that I've been eating really well. And that means eating enough food. I'm usually an under-eater. So that's 1. 2, I'm going for the 300 club on my deadlift.
Awesome.
That's another goal. We're coming up on summer. We're going to start running more. I really want to improve my engine, because that seems to be what holds me back. So, definitely just becoming a better athlete when it comes to the Metcons and things like that. I'm not sure I'll ever love burpees, but I'm trying.
I'm with you on that. They're not my favorite.
I'd like to get my clean and jerk up to like 175.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
I cleaned 155 during the Open, which was a PR for me.
Awesome.
Yeah, so those are just some of my goals, but really just to be the most fit version of myself and to really surrender to this sport that I love so much and that I'm having so much fun doing. The barbell brings me so much joy. It's crazy. So just, keep going until it's no longer fun and then find the next thing.
Yeah.
What about you?
Let's see. For me, I do have a body composition goal, and that is I want to see my muscles in my arms. And yeah, so I'm working on the nutrition as well. I really feel like that comes from nutrition as opposed to whatever I'm doing in the gym. And so that's really a big focus. And I hear you on sort of how sometimes when my focus, like for the past, I would say since January, my focus has been on gym, really making gains in the gym, feeling like I'm pushing myself hard and seeing that improvement. But I have not been, my nutrition has been great, but it hasn't been the kind of nutrition that I need to have to see my muscles. And so when that begins, which will probably be actually in a couple of weeks, I have to know that I can't expect the same kind of results in the gym. And just being aware of that is really important for me. And so giving myself grace and understanding during that time and knowing that what I'm doing is aligned with my goal of being able to see those muscles. And then in the gym, always my goal is to show up as fully me. Like every day in the gym, I want to be Kelly Covert, and I want to be positive, and I want to be excited to be there, and I want to be encouraging, and I want to give my body what it needs on any given day. And some days that means pushing hard and RXing, and some days that means going light and being 100% okay with that. And today was a perfect example. I could have RXed a workout and it would have made me really proud to do that. But my wrist was bugging a little bit and there were cleans in there. And I thought, if I do this many cleans at this weight, it's going to cost me. And what price am I willing to pay? And I would rather pay with my pride and have a healthy body. And so that's really always my goal, is to approach every single day asking myself, what do I need? And listening.
Yeah. I think that's how you become the fittest version of yourself.
100%. Yeah. And it's not about looking at what other people are doing. And it's not about saying I should have or I could have. It's about in the moment, what do you need? And that is a life lesson that I've taken from sport, from triathlon, from the gym, and I apply it every single day in my own life. And I'm so grateful for that.
That's a great lesson.
It is. Well, and listen, we want you guys to share your lessons with us. So if you've enjoyed this little conversation, this special conversation that we've had about our challenges with CrossFit and what we've learned in the journey and then going forward our goals, let us know that you've liked it. You can tag us in on Instagram. I'm at Kelly J. Covert.
I'm at the Tara Newman.
And we would love to have a conversation with you guys. And if this is something that you'd like to hear more of, we're not opposed to doing this again. We've talked about maybe making this semi-regular.
We have.
So let us know if you love it and let us know what you'd like to hear more of.
Yeah, please do. And come find us because we love hanging out with everyone. I think you and I are both like really community-driven people.
Absolutely.
So engage with us.
And we want to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining us today. And be sure to take a listen to Tara's podcast, the Bold Leadership Podcast. Am I saying it right?
The Bold Leadership Revolution.
The Bold Leadership Revolution. And my podcast, In Her Voice, because we have lots of good stuff to share with you there too.
Hey, Kelly.
Yes.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tara. I love you.
Okay. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.